Hello, and welcome to Back Through the Lens, where two film school friends talk about movies through the haze of nostalgia, the good, the bad, and the ones that aren't quite how we remember them. I'm your host, Rachel, and with me is my co host, Joe. Today's movie is A Christmas Story.
Christmas, the season of giving. Despite hearing that as children, it's hard not to imagine what awaits us under the tree on the 25th of December. Whether it's from mom, dad, the grandparents, or even Santa himself, the excitement of getting that gift we've been dreaming about all year is hard to ignore.
So I was thinking about this while watching A Christmas Story. I don't know if there was anything I've ever wanted as much as Ralphie wanted that BB gun.
Yeah, I was trying to envision that myself, actually, and I knew I wanted a bunch of little things as a kid. Batman toys, Ninja Turtle toys. If anything, and it was like a joint thing, me and my little sister, I think we really wanted a Nintendo 64. And when we got that, it was pretty amazing.
That's the only thing I could think of, but for me it was actually a Super Nintendo.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
that was before
yeah,
Nintendo
it was
64,
before.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, so we had one of those. So the next one up, 64. A lot of hype around it. I was going to say on the internet, but that wasn't a thing yet. So the Toys R Us catalog was really
Yeah, I was
pitching
gonna
it.
say, what was the hype or what? How did we learn about things? Commercials.
Commercials,
Yeah.
and Toys R Us catalogs.
hmm
Yeah.
The hype on the catalog. Speaking of that, did you hear that Toys R Us is opening pop-up stores for Christmas shopping?
I did not.
I only
Hmm.
heard about it because one of them will be at Crocker Park.
Oh, nice. I don't know if it would be as good as I remember it. I never really went into a lot of Toys R Us's. I just remember like circling what I wanted in the magazine once a year.
See, I don't remember doing the catalog. I remember going to our local Toys R Us store and like showing my parents what I wanted, specifically
Hmm.
what I wanted, so there would be no confusion. More so on their part, they were always like, "What's this toy? What is this thing you're talking about?" Now that we're talking about this, I can remember the layout and everything.
Yeah.
My son just circles things in the Amazon catalog. It's actually really hard without the existence of commercials, I feel, to really because we'll say, "What do you want for your birthday? What do you want for Christmas?" And I feel like he doesn't even know what even is out there
Damn.
because we had toy commercials on Nickelodeon all the time.
Absolutely. That's how I
Yeah.
knew about things. Game
hmm
Boy,
Yep.
video games, Bop Its, GAC,
Cack. Oh my gosh.
Talk Boys. Bringing it
Talk
back.
Boys. Yeah. Yeah. Still, I can't think of any singular thing that I wanted really, really badly any particular year. You know what? This is a little later, but when DVD players came out, I wanted a DVD player.
Okay. Okay. I like it.
I feel very old saying that.
And I was like, well, I got mine in high school. I think I got mine a little later because I had a bunch of VHSs. I'm like, I'm not giving these up.
Oh, I didn't get one till high school.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I remember one of my first DVDs ever was Moulin Rouge.
Oh,
hmm
mine was Minority Report starring Tom Cruise.
I haven't seen that. Should I?
I mean, it's a Tom Cruise sci-fi movie. I like it.
Yeah. I think my
He runs
husband
at
likes
some
it.
point.
He runs at some point. We're getting too off course. It's
Oh yes,
Christmas. It's not Tom Cruise time.
he runs in a Santa suit. No, he does not.
No.
Not
Stop.
yet. Oh,
Not yet.
MGM, if you're listening, make a Tom Cruise Santa movie.
Okay. All right. Well, that being said, because we're getting too off topic,
My bad.
today we are here to talk about A Christmas Story, directed by Bob Clark, released November 18th, 1983, rated PG, based on In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash by Gene Shepard, which is a short story collection. And Gene Shepard was also one of the screenwriters.
In this story, Ralphie, a 9-year-old boy in the 1930s, wants nothing more than a Red Ryder Carbine Action 200 shot range model air rifle for Christmas. He tries any and all available avenues to attain this goal. Subtle hints to his mom, a school paper to his teacher, and even asking the Higby Santa, ensuring all his bases are covered.
So I feel like we should mention from the top that being two people who grew up in Cleveland and still live in Cleveland, this movie is probably more important to us in a Cleveland sense.
Yeah.
Also, a beloved Christmas movie, but also, if you're from Cleveland, you have a weird obsession with this movie and leg lamps.
Leg lamps, yes. A
Hmm.
little small yellow house, yes.
Yep.
Here on the shores of Lake Erie.
The shores of Lake Erie. The leg lamps on the shores of Lake Erie.
I had to bring it back.
Yep. How could I forget?
That's what I'm here for. All the bad jokes that won't die.
That all being said, I don't think I actually saw this until middle school. It wasn't something that my family watched a lot. I specifically remember seeing it for the first time in middle school, one of those class periods, before the break started where the teacher's not going to teach you anything new. So we just watched A Christmas Story in a bunch of different classes. And I remember telling my parents, like, there's this really silly Christmas movie. And it was filmed in Cleveland. I want to watch the whole thing. And they were like, oh, I know which one you're talking about. And thus began. I think my brother and I really are the ones who started this particular tradition in my family because then we would watch the 24-hour TNT TBS marathon. And in particular, Christmas morning, we were always up well before my parents. We would see how many viewings of A Christmas Story we could get through before my parents finally got up.
How late do they sleep in?
I mean, we were up really early.
Oh,
We
okay,
were up at
okay.
5 or something, and my parents were adults with
Hmm.
jobs, so
Fair.
I feel what they felt now that I am an adult and a parent. It's like a holiday. I want to sleep in. I don't want to get up early as if it is a regular weekday.
I have no sleep in. It just happens naturally, unfortunately
Hmm.
for me.
It happens like that for my son too.
He won't grow out of it.
Okay, well, noted. I guess I will never sleep in ever.
I'll just kick him out. I believe my Christmas story origin story is the same as yours.
Hmm.
I distinctly remember seeing it for the first time. I want to say sixth grade. It was in a classroom at school. It was right before break for the holidays, like you said. And I was like, what the hell is this really old movie?
This really old movie.
Well, and I'll get to this point when we start the conversation of the film
Hmm.
itself, but they've done a good job making it look older than the 80s.
Of course, yeah.
And I had no idea what it was, so it just looked old, so I thought it was old. And I don't think I paid much attention to it in class. I think we were just goofing off and eating treats or whatever.
Hmm.
But then I don't know if it was that year or sometime soon after, I noticed it was on at my grandmother's house, Mama's house, and my older brother-in-law was there watching it. And I was like, "Oh, I saw that at school." He's like, "Fuck yeah, this movie's awesome!" And so,
Such a
and
strong reaction to A Christmas
uh,
Story.
well, then we'd watch it every year together on Christmas Eve when we were at Mama's house. But like anytime I would travel throughout my days as an adult and go to your in-laws or go over to other grandmas or so and
Hmm.
so, like
Hmm.
it was on, and it was like, okay,
Right.
what part am I catching now? And that became the tradition of keeping it on or turning it on when I went to someone else's house. Like, no, you got to put it on. This
That's
is the
fun.
tradition. I'm forcing it upon you now.
Right.
And I know we've mentioned, oh, I think we watch this every year. Or if I don't watch it, I make sure I watch it next year for sure. Something like a Home Alone situation. Like if I don't see it this year, I'll see it next year for sure because it's one of my favorites. This one, I guarantee you, I watch it every year. If not only in the morning while drinking coffee and opening presents with the wife and dogs, it's at least
Hmm.
on. But I definitely put it on at my in-laws and my parents when I go over there.
Yeah, it is required Christmas morning at my house after we've opened presents. We put on A Christmas Story while my son starts to, actually open the packages and
Yeah.
start playing with his toys. Absolutely. Like we make coffee, we make some sort of breakfast, and it's Christmas Story time. I did try to bring it to my in-laws a few times. I think I was the only one that really sat down to watch it, unfortunately. At first, it was fun because obviously the opening with Tower City, I was explaining to them that, like, I've been here. I would go here with my grandparents or all these things. And then I think everyone just lost interest one at a time. So I don't know
Hmm.
if that means it's more of a Cleveland Christmas classic because my in-laws are out of state, but everyone I know loves it. But also, I'm talking about people who live in the Cleveland area who grew up here.
Sure,
So
sure. Yeah. I mean, now that I think about it, though, besides this viewing for the episode, I don't know when I've actually sat down purposely to watch it because, like, it's on just all day. I put it on.
it's on all the time.
It's just the background noise. I'll catch a scene, catch a line, get a chuckle,
Yeah.
eat some food or whatever. It's just on, but it's like putting Christmas music on. Only instead of hearing music, it's Ralphie.
Yeah. Yep.
Have you been to the house?
Oh, I have not actually. And I'm very bothered by this personally because every Christmas season, we usually go out and do one Christmassy thing like the zoo lights or the farm park, whatever. And every year, I think this is the year we should get my parents and my brother and all go see a Christmas story house. And then we run out of time or something else comes up. And I keep saying, well, we should do it in the off season then because it's open all year. And somehow it has still not happened, but I would really love to go.
Yeah, same boat.
Yeah, really?
I've been close to it. I've
Right, of course.
I've parked my car on the street, pretty much across the street from it, being out
Hmm.
in Tremont, going to I don't even remember where at the time, and like, oh, that's the house. So I've been in its presence. I felt its aura.
Yeah, we've driven past it. We've
Yeah,
been in the neighborhood. Absolutely.
I have not been
Um,
in or across the street at the museum,
mhm.
not for any particular reason, one way or the other. It's just it hasn't happened yet, and I am ashamed.
Yeah, I know. I do feel a little bad about it myself, but I also feel like it's that trap people fall into when there's a touristy thing in their own city. That's the one thing they've never been to.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I
because
bet you there's plenty of New Yorkers that never been to the Statue of Liberty.
well, I was just about to bring that up that we saw that in past lives.
Oh shit! Yeah, look at me.
They lived in New York for so long and they had never been to the Statue of Liberty. Yeah. So,
The Christmas Story house is our Statue of Liberty.
yes. Yes. So, our background for A Christmas Story, Gene Shepherd had various short stories that appeared in Playboy magazine between 1964 and 1966. One of these in particular was Duel in the Snow, or Red Ryder Nails the Cleveland Street Kid. So we can already see, I think, how some of these short stories all came together for various scenes through A Christmas Story, the movie.
Yeah, that definitely sounds familiar.
He also had a radio show where he read some of these stories. They were all put together in a book published in 1966. In 1968, Bob Clark, our director, heard Gene Shepherd reading Flick's Tongue on a radio show and decided to seek out more of his work. And that's how he became a fan of Gene Shepherd. And I did like this story the first time he heard one of his stories on the radio. He was driving to a first date and he circled around the block for 45 minutes so he could finish listening to the story.
Could you imagine, like, sorry I'm late. I was shaving.
I was listening to this story about a kid who gets his tongue stuck to a flagpole. No, I swear.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, he has a nice voice. He's got a good radio voice, so it pulls you in.
He does, yeah. It's funny. My husband and I have done some pretty long road trips in our lives. We've driven across the country a few times, and we would always end up listening to older radio shows that they would play on, I guess, local public radio. I don't know. And hearing all this, I'm surprised that we didn't run into any of Gene Shepherd's stories. I specifically remember listening to Mr. Ed, which I did not realize was a radio show at first.
Yeah, I never knew that either. I just thought it was an old ass TV show.
Yeah, same. I remember finding it very funny. We were possibly also just really tired and I think driving through Wyoming at night or something, but I remembered liking it.
So I'm trying to picture this as a radio show because as a show on Nick at Night, like there's a physical horse, and they put peanut butter in his gums to make his like mouth get agitated, and like he's moving his mouth. So then they do the voiceover. I mean, I guess you don't need to do that when you're on a radio show. You're just like, oh yeah, this is the horse. Hi, I'm a horse, and like what the fuck,
I
like.
mean, I assume it would have been easier as a radio show.
Well, that's what I mean. And so you're like, oh, now we're gonna make this a TV show. Shit, we need an actual horse.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't think I ever realized what a weird idea for a show Mr. Ed was. I was a kid and it was what, Nick at Night, right?
Yeah, when we were kids,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
I mean, it was probably on primetime TV at one point.
I know.
It's like they took the idea for like Lassie and were like, what if Lassie could talk, but then not save the day?
What if Lassie was a whole different animal and could
Yeah.
talk? Oh my
And then that
gosh.
became Flipper eventually.
I remember Flipper.
Hmm.
Yeah, what are all these animal shows? Did they
I
just
don't know.
like run out of ideas at some point?
Seems like every so many years they run out of a bunch of ideas at some point.
Wow, I haven't thought of any of this in a long time, but I definitely watched a lot of Flipper when I was younger.
Welcome to the Nostalgia Podcast, kids.
Yeah, we might have to do like a television special or something.
Ooh, God, that's like a whole nother series.
Yeah, they're honestly doing this podcast and having these discussions with you. I've uncovered all these TV shows I used to watch that I've completely forgotten about. I think for me, I mostly forgot about all the old TV shows that I would watch reruns of.
Yeah.
And then also looking back, how completely bizarre some of these shows were, like Mr. Ed. Anyway,
Anyway,
so Flick's Tongue. So this is the little radio show that Bob Clark heard inspired him to one day make a movie of Gene Shepard's material. Flick's Tongue was actually not part of the published short story collection, but on one of the DVD versions, it's an extra. And I don't know if that means that maybe the extra is Gene Shepard reading Flick's Tongue, like the
I would
story.
imagine because we see it in the movie.
Right. So after all this, after Bob Clark was late for his first date with this woman that I assume did not become his wife, it took him 12 years to get A Christmas Story made. It sounds like he had really become familiar with Gene Shepard's work in the meantime. In 1982, his movie Porky's came out and was enough of a financial success that MGM agreed to finance A Christmas Story, finally. Depending on the sources you look at, the budget was either 4.4 million or 3.3 million, but either way, not a lot of money, obviously, especially compared to some of the other movies we've discussed.
Yes, yeah.
I think Home Alone, didn't they give it 10 million initially, but they couldn't go over 10?
Yeah, there was like, I think eventually 14 or 18,
Yeah, something like that.
and then made like a bajillion dollars. So
I feel like Home Alone, at least in terms of my knowledge of movie budgets at this point, was like the biggest fumble in history. They could have increased the budget by 8 million and made so much back. Bob Clark ended up contributing $150,000 of his own money, and he gave up his director's fee.
so he paid himself? No, he paid to make the movie. He paid to make the movie. Yes.
Yes, he paid to work on this movie, yeah. But that's
Yes,
how
yeah.
much he believed in it, I guess. And then Gene Shepard wrote the screenplay with his wife, Lee Brown, and Bob Clark. They all collaborated.
That's nice.
Yeah. The film is set in Homan, Indiana, which is fictional. It's a stand in for Gene Shepard's real hometown of Hammond, Indiana. I'm always curious why people don't just use the real name of their town.
And so close in sound too.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you're saying this was a horrible place to grow up or anything.
No.
So, but Hammond is the only city in Indiana that shares a border with Chicago, which is true. I looked it up. So it's more like a suburb of Chicago, basically. They included real locations in Hammond, including Cleveland Street, which is the street that Gene Shepard grew up on. I had always thought that the street was named Cleveland Street in the movie as a nod to filming in Cleveland, but apparently not.
Yeah, I thought that too, but also not surprised hearing it was the real street name where he grew up on because, as you mentioned, you've traveled cross country and I've traveled around as well, and there's always a
Mhm.
Cleveland Street
Mm.
in most cities I've seen.
I've been a lot of places where there's just another Cleveland, and then
Oh,
if people ask you where you're from, they think you're from the Cleveland by them and
hmm,
not the
the real one.
Cleveland that yeah, the real one, sure, yeah. So Cleveland, Ohio, our city, was chosen as a filming location solely based on Higbee's department store being willing to participate in the film. It sounds like Bob Clark had sent scouts out to about 20 other cities, and the thing they kept failing at was securing a department store that would let the movie film.
Okay, that's
Uh,
a pretty big part. So yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, and especially for the interior scenes, which I guess I could understand any given store thinking this is going to ruin their, you know, it's going to get in the way of the customers who actually want to shop there and them making money and whatnot. But they needed to use a store's display window for the opening scene, the parade scene, and then obviously inside when they visit Santa. The vice president of Higbee's at this time was a man named Bruce Campbell. He agreed to let Higbee's be a part of the movie if he could edit the script for swear words.
What's with all these people editing scripts for swear words?
So I actually feel like this is one of the first times we've seen someone do their due diligence and is at least like, let me see the script first
Yeah.
before agreeing to let them film and then deciding there was something objectionable and canceling everything and causing the whole production to scramble.
Well, I mean, yes and no, because some of the other examples, they saw the script first, but then they didn't like they only saw their parts of it. Like, was it for
Oh, right.
was it Happy Gilmore, one of
Yes.
the golf announcers? He only read like his stuff, but then he looked through the rest of the script like, oh my god, everyone else is swearing in here. I don't like that. I don't want to be in this movie.
Yeah.
Like he only read the
Yep.
one page he's on.
That was, yes, that was one I was thinking of. I think it was Scream. They had a school they were initially working with, and then at the
Yeah.
last minute, the school objected to the material or decided it would be too disruptive for students. Number one, I'm curious how much swearing was in this movie in the first place, because we obviously have that really famous scene of Ralphie saying a swear word in front of his parents, but they change it. So you
Right.
don't hear him actually swear. I'm curious if he did say the actual F word and they took that out or something.
Hmm. I don't know because I feel like it wouldn't work as well. I don't know
Well, I
unless that was their
agree.
one swear word, but because you get one,
You get one F word
right? Well, that would
without
be
an
the
R
one.
rate. Yes, that would be the one. Yes. Okay, I also wonder if maybe the dad had said some dammits or hells or something when he's yelling at all the things breaking.
I was thinking that, or maybe like the bullies, like again, more like
Mm.
smaller words. Damn it's hells.
Yeah, I guess I'm just curious because this has always seemed like probably one of the more wholesome, family-friendly kind of Christmas movies. I just can't imagine there being a bunch of F-bombs in it or something. I don't know.
Right.
I'm so curious what this guy took out.
Dear
Um
Santa, I really fucking want my gun. Oh, I can't say that. All right, cut that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't know if we talked about this already. Did you ever go to Higbee's, like, around Christmas time when you were a kid?
No.
Okay, we did all the time. We'd go see the decorations at Higbee's, and I remember the walls all being gold.
I remember going to Tower City and it being like what a Dillard's or Macy's or something after the fact, and they didn't. I don't think they changed the interior. I remember going somewhere in Tower City and it looking very like aged and gaudy to me.
Yes, that's mhm. I believe Higbee's became Dillard's.
Okay.
Potentially something after that, I don't remember, before it closed. I remember going there and visiting their talking Christmas tree that you could tell what you wanted for Christmas, and one year it thought my name was Bridget.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, Rachel, Bridget. Yep, sounds the same.
Yep. It's like my one memory.
In my head, I'm picturing like a giant Harry Potter sorting hat, but like pine.
No, it was small. I'm pretty sure it has a name. I need to look it up now. I feel like it had a name like Bob or something.
Bob the Tree.
Hold on. Bruce the Spruce.
It's way
It's
better.
better than Bob the Spruce.
Yeah,
It was a bee name. I was close. I
you
was
were
close.
close.
Thank you. See, it's just like this little tree with big eyes.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
What? Do you think it was named after Bruce Campbell?
Let's say yes.
Let's say yes.
You know what? Why not? He famously got a production shot after altering the script and put Higbee's on the map so they can close and sell the Dillards. And you know what? For one last hurrah, they named a talking tree after him.
Sure.
I don't know.
We just made up our own legend about this movie.
Our origin story for Bruce the Spruce.
Origin story. Yes.
I just can't see the name Bruce Campbell and not think of the actor. So
Well, of course, yeah.
yeah. So I'm just like, it's hard for me to take this seriously. Like the guy with the chainsaw hand doesn't want swearing. I don't understand.
No. That's what I keep imagining that in
maybe
my
maybe he used the chainsaw hand to cut down Bruce the Spruce to put it in the shop.
God. Moving on,
Please.
please. I don't know if this is gonna help. Um, Bob Clark considered Jack Nicholson for the dad.
It doesn't help at all. Okay.
He later said, no one could have played the dad aside from I'm blanking on his name, but the actor that ended up playing him. And it's like, yeah, I really can't imagine Jack Nicholson doing this at all in any way. So,
No, because he doesn't. He's too Jack Nicholson. I don't know how else to describe it. Like
yeah.
even on his roles where he's not. I think this time period too of Jack Nicholson. This is early '80s, and Shining came out late '70s, and that's all I'm picturing is that version of Jack Nicholson, and or that in One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest. And for this part, I feel like he's too big of a star, not to do a smaller movie, but to like play, second
Random
fiddle
suburban dad. Yeah.
dad. Yeah, like the kid's the star of the show, and I don't think it's even an ego thing, which it might be with Jack Nicholson. I don't know, but I just feel like I can't not see him just being a background character while this little
Yeah.
kid's running around in a pink bunny suit,
Yes, I agree.
and then Jack Nicholson not wanting to take an axe to him. Like I can't.
Yes. Melinda Dillon, who plays the mom, she was cast based on her role in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. She played a similar mother role. I've only seen that movie once. I didn't remember that she was in it.
I also have seen that movie once, and I was little, so I'd probably have to rewatch that. I don't think I appreciated it at the time. I just remember mashed potatoes,
Yeah.
but honestly, that's really it.
Peter Billingsley, who plays Ralphie, he had already been working steadily in commercials, I believe in New York City, and he was Bob Clark's first choice for Ralphie, but he still ended up auditioning about 8,000 child actors.
Why?
But why? Same thing with Home Alone. I think, they each found their main child actor, but then they were like, I don't know. I should just really make sure.
8,000's a lot. Oh, I got this kid right here. I think he'll do great. We're scheduled for 8,000 auditions. Well, unless they're just paying him to do it, then I mean he's doing his job, maybe. But I feel like that's 8,000 rejection letters you have to send out to children, and that seems horrible.
Yeah, that's true. If they
It's
even
also part
send
of the
those out.
job.
But yeah, well, with Home Alone, I believe Chris Columbus was saying he felt like he had to do his due diligence and not just hire Macaulay Culkin. He should go
Sure.
audition a bunch of other actors too. But yeah, 8,000 is an insane number. I just wanted to go through some other actors who were considered for Ralphie or who auditioned at least. Keith Coogan, who voiced young Todd in The Fox and the Hound. He was later in Adventures in Babysitting. He is also the grandson of Jackie Coogan, which, if anyone is not familiar, Jackie Coogan was a child actor Silent film times, the role I always think of is the kid. He was the kid in a movie called The Kid, which is a Charlie Chaplin movie. He's also responsible for getting a lot of child actor laws passed, both for safety and I think for financial compensation. They're literally referred to as Coogan laws in California.
Interesting.
Inspired by silent film star Jackie Coogan, whose millions were squandered by his mother.
Oof.
So there we go. Okay, so more financial than safety laws, I guess. So yeah, just an interesting bit of trivia to me that Jackie Coogan's grandson was in the business.
Yeah.
Um, Sean Astin auditioned, Mikey in The Goonies, later, of course, Sam in Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Rudy.
Rudy, yeah, I always forget about Rudy.
I could see this one though. I could see
Hmm.
like young Sean Astin.
Yeah, I could too. I think it's difficult because Peter Billingsley has such an iconic face, I feel, with, the big blue eyes. It's hard to imagine anyone else doing it, but yeah, Sean Astin was already a child actor. I could see him doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, Will Wheaton, Gordy in Stand By Me.
Yeah. It could probably work, but yeah, I like
Hmm.
what we got.
Yeah,
First choice was good.
yeah. Unfortunately, it seems that Bob Clark and Gene Shepard did not get along while making the movie. Gene Shepard saw his work as Dickens' Christmas Carol as retold by Scrooge. And then Bob Clark obviously softened things for the movie, especially because Bob Clark saw this as a family-friendly movie. I think Gene Shepard saw his stories as more maybe witty commentary on things, and this wasn't the vision for the movie.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to read the stories or hear the radio versions of it to kind of understand the
Yes.
quote Dickens Christmas Carol retold by Scrooge because like I don't get that at all. Like, obviously, Bob Clark had a lot to do with it,
Yeah,
and Bruce Campbell of Higbee's.
of
Uh,
Higbee's.
but is it one of those situations where maybe the artist is overthinking what he's putting out? Like maybe his goal was to do that, and that's not what's coming across.
Yeah. I think that is part of it. I can't remember where I added this in our notes, but there was some commentary that he was frustrated with his work coming across as kind of nostalgic and sort of happy family, happy childhood kind of people could look back wistfully at a nicer time because that's not what he meant. But I mean, if the whole country is misinterpreting your work, I don't know, maybe you gotta think about what you're putting out there.
Yeah, and it's hard not to think that way because he's obviously writing about his past. He's reflecting on it, and
Right,
if it's commentation on what was going on at the time, a lot of people grew up that way. So if he's like, "Oh
right.
yeah, we were poor. This is bad, and this and that," everyone's like, "Yeah, we were too. I remember that fondly for some reason because, like, I don't know, this is the life
So
we
you
led."
were
And
yeah, you were a
I
kid,
don't
you didn't
know
know any better, I don't know.
exactly.
But so they're clashing on set, specifically had to do with that, and Gene Shepard was trying to tell the actors how to play their characters. The quote I have from one of the articles, "The director would call cut, and as soon as he left the set, Shepard would lean in and say to Billingsley, 'Ralphie's really like this.' Bob would come roaring back and say, 'Gene, get away from the actors.' So eventually Bob Clark ended up banning him from set."
So now you're co-directing, going against what Bob Clark's saying, but as the actor too, he has his own choices to make.
That's true, yeah. And I mean, this isn't the first example we've seen of people kind of having a hard time letting go of their original story or how they originally thought of this when they were writing it. I also just want to point out it's funny when you hear about Gene Shepard being like, "No, this was actually supposed to be darker social commentary or whatever." Do you remember us discussing Bob Clark in our episode about Halloween?
I do now.
I do. He had directed Black Christmas,
Yeah.
which is yes, which was a big inspiration for John Carpenter when making Halloween. So if anyone has not listened to the Halloween episode or doesn't know what we're referencing, Black Christmas was a slasher film that Halloween took a lot of inspiration from. I Neither of us have seen it, right? You haven't seen
I've
it
not seen
before.
it.
I haven't seen it either, but it's a slasher terrorizing, I think, a sorority house.
Yeah,
And I think the scary bit of it that John Carpenter really latched onto is that there wasn't any rhyme or reason. He was just, I don't know, killing a bunch of sorority girls. So I don't know. Bob Clark contains multitudes. I don't know.
right. Yeah, maybe Gene Shepard saw that movie and he wanted a more scary Christmas story. It's like, Bob, I've seen your work. Come on.
I've seen your work. Oh my
Maybe
god.
Gene Shepard was having some sort of commentation on gun violence in America.
We weren't really there yet, were we?
I feel like we're
Um,
always there.
well, in our lifetime, yes.
Yeah. Think about it. Kid wants a gun. Every authoritative figure is telling no. Finally gets it, and he damn near shoots his eye out.
I don't know. See, if he was making a commentary on the way America views guns, I feel like this kid would ask for a gun and they'd be like, "Yeah, it's your right.
Here's all of
Fuck
the
yeah.
guns.
Yes, here's all the guns. This gun is bigger than you. Take it."
Yeah, well. Oh, this is like from the 50s, though. Who knows?
Okay, well, let's get into that because the whole when is this movie set? It's really funny that you mention feeling like it was in the 50s because I feel like growing up that was always my sense. Not that I necessarily have a lot of I guess that was just my assumption. But in doing the research on this, it's actually supposed to be late 30s, early 40s.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know why for all these years my brain has just always been like, yeah, this is a family in 1950s America, I guess. I mean the lack of television sort of one big clue there.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. I just figured they were, you know, middle class, lower middle class Midwesterns.
Mhm.
Maybe that wasn't a thing yet for every household to
That's
have.
true too. I realized there was all this controversy is not the right word. People kind of not agreeing on exactly what year it's supposed to take place. Part of that is because people will date some of the props, like the toys or different appliances or whatever, which I'm sure to some degree the props they could get or what they could get, they're probably not all literally, of 1939 or 1940, whatever. Someone did point out, though, that Wizard of Oz came out in 1939, and those characters, we see people dressed up as the Wizard of Oz characters in the parade. There
Hmm.
is that.
Was it like an overnight success? Would people be dressed up as that for a Christmas parade already? I mean, I guess.
Maybe, I mean, also if the book was popular and then it got
Hmm,
hyped into, we're
yeah.
making a movie out of this very popular old book. I don't know. I don't know. I
Hmm.
guess I've never really been too concerned about when it takes place. I could tell it was of a certain time because, like I said, there was no television. There are certain things they don't have. But also, I read a lot of things that said it's so obvious this is before World War II. And I was like, okay, is it? I don't know.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I didn't even think about
I
that, even though that would be the
I did not
case.
think about that either. So I think some other people were watching this more closely.
So, anyways, it takes place in
Right.
1817. I mean, there was a scene where he's a cowboy, so you never who can
Who can
tell?
tell? It takes place sometime between The Wizard of Oz being released and World War II. Yeah.
Fair.
See? I want to point out the opening of this movie gives me very similar vibes as The Muppet Christmas Carol. It's like I put this on and this is Christmas. I
Absolutely.
know it's a little different because the opening they're literally playing a Christmas carol that like a known Christmas song, right? But still, it's just I don't know. The Christmas warm and fuzzies, just like when I put on a Muppet Christmas Carol and those first notes start playing.
Yeah. I mean, snowing, you got kids literally face pressed against the window looking at toys and guns. And they're dressed accordingly. Like you said, the music is there.
I do always love the opening shot of Tower City. For
Hmm.
anyone who does not live in Cleveland, the opening shot is Public Square, downtown Cleveland. Tower City was one of our most famous buildings. I don't know how else to explain it because it's not the tallest by any means. It's just kind of unique.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I think at one point it was the tallest,
I don't know.
but not for
Yeah.
long.
But seeing this always makes me think of my childhood. My parents and my uncles and I would always go and see all the decorations at Tower City. So inside this building that used to have Higbee's department store was, aside from Higbee's, a shopping mall, and their main, I don't know, center area with the fountains. They would always go all out for Christmas decorations. But yeah, it's like we said at the beginning, it's Christmas nostalgia, also hometown nostalgia. I don't know what it's like to watch this movie and not think of my literal childhood Christmases. Mhm.
Yeah. Which is always weird for me because it doesn't take place in Cleveland, but it's very obviously Cleveland to me.
Right.
And like those first few watches, especially the first time watching it in school, I thought it was in Cleveland set.
Oh yeah, for a while when I was younger, I always just assumed it was taking place in Cleveland too. Obviously, there are little clues in the or in the narration rather when Ralphie says things about the Indiana Speedway, Lake Michigan, whatever. And I always remember thinking it's Lake Erie, not Lake Michigan.
On the frigid shores of Lake
Yeah.
Michigan. It's a few times Dad's reading the paper and he's talking about the Chicago
Yes.
Bears as well, not the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought it was gross how Randy eats or lack of eating. Just this scene and later on we'll see it.
Yeah.
Randy kind of in general annoys me.
Yeah, it's funny because in my research, the actor who plays Randy, looking back at it, said that he didn't really have to audition so much because Randy is more so there to just react to things and giggle.
And he barely does
Right.
that.
So, yeah, he is kind of just a gross little brother sometimes.
Do you think the
Mhm.
director has Randy play with his food, specifically mashed potatoes, because a little nod to the actress who was the mom who was in Close Encounters, or is that just a connection I'm reaching at
I mean, it could be.
or
Who
reaching
knows?
for?
Well, maybe it would depend on what was in some of Gene Shepard's stories.
Yes, I
Maybe
suppose
that
so.
would be our answer. What is the catalyst of Ralphie learning this BB gun exists and realizing how bad he wants it? Are they looking through the paper or something?
Ooh, I know he puts an ad for it in his mom's magazine. That's the subtle hint he's trying to make to her.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the equivalent of like your son circling the Amazon catalog or me and my sister circling the Toys R Us thing. I want to say, and I could be wrong, that he had to hear it on a radio show. And I know he listens to Orphan Annie. I don't know if they have like a Western
Oh,
episode.
that's a good
I know he
point.
saw it at the beginning. He sees it at Higbee's, so maybe he just fell in love with it there. Because you see him like the narrator's talking, and he's just like reading the sign for a very long shot. And like you're 9 years old, you can read faster than that. And he's just like mouthing the words of the cowboy
Mm-hmm.
sign.
Okay,
So
that's a good point.
maybe he just fell in love with it on sight.
Yeah. I asked because we're immediately brought into that imaginary scenario of Ralphie saving his house from a bunch of old-timey robbers using his BB gun. I really like how over the top all of these are. It's such a little kid nonsensical thing. The way people are moving, his parents are always acting really over the top. Even his little brother, he is very obviously supposed to be scared and, biting his nails, and it's so overdone and cheesy, but it works with this whole sequence. I found out that the part where Ralphie spits the tobacco juice, it really was tobacco.
Okay.
The prop man gave him some Red Man chaw, or should that be chew?
I honestly don't know. It sounds, I would think chew, but also I could not be surprised if it was called Red Man Chaw.
Okay. Within minutes, he was sweating. He had to go lay down for an hour.
Like,
Yeah. So they had to stop production completely. I don't know what this prop man was thinking or if this was an accident, but for the rest of the shots they did for this scene, they gave him ground up raisins to chew on. I just, why didn't you do this from the beginning? But also, the quote I have from Peter Billingsley, who played Ralphie, is this was long before they knew what to do with kid actors, which I'm going to disagree with a little bit because we literally just mentioned the Coogan laws that were, that kid was in the movies in the 1920s, and this was the 80s. And I feel like at
right.
the very least, maybe they would be lax with the number of hours this kid could work or whatever. Who in their right mind would think that chewing tobacco was the right idea?
I guess this prop man wasn't good at making props. He just gave him the real
I don't
stuff.
know. Very cinema verite.
Good thing the scene didn't call for him smoking
My
a
gosh,
cigarette.
I know.
All right, in this scene, Ralphie's envisioning drinking whiskey with the robbers. Come here, Peter.
The robbers really died.
With the X's on their
Yeah.
eyes.
Uh,
As always, when we rewatch, there's lines I probably have heard quite literally a million times, but your ears pick up them differently when they're more attuned to be paying attention. And the old man comes home from work. He's about to go down and mess with the furnace again, as always, but the narrator says, some men are Baptists, other Catholics. My old man was an Oldsmobile man.
yeah.
And then he goes down to fix the furnace. I was like, I don't know what has to do. Did Oldsmobile, did they make furnace? I don't
That's what
know.
I've always wondered, but I'm just like, I don't know. He's a dad, just go with
I
it.
just let it
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. This part where they're getting, well, the mom specifically is getting Randy bundled up for school. The way she is pulling on things and struggling, and she herself is practically rolling around on the floor. I feel this so hard now as a parent, just how like hot and sweaty she must be, like fighting with her kid trying to get them ready for really anything. But obviously this part is classic once Randy is all bundled up and says he can't put his arms down. I think it's so funny when the mom tells him he can put his arms down when he gets to school.
Yeah. That's fair.
Hmm.
He just need his arms down. I like when she is dressing him at one point, she literally has her like knee on the back of his like shoulder, like trying to squish him in.
Yep.
Uh, and the narrator says getting ready for school was like prepping for deep sea
Yeah.
diving. And poor little Randy gets knocked over or falls over, I think, on the way to school, and he can't get up.
Yeah. I think about that all the time when you see pictures of my son when he was a lot younger, bundled up for the snow, especially because he would be in a car seat or a stroller still. His arms are out like that. And every time I see pictures of him in this stance, I think of can't put my arms down.
Of
Yep.
course.
Although, did you notice how much more bundled Randy is than the rest of the kids?
Well, he's
Yeah,
little.
that's what I figured.
Yeah. I think that has something to do with it,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. Apparently, we've seen this before, but apparently it did not snow in Cleveland the way it normally snows in Cleveland when they were filming this. So they had to bring in,
Of
yeah, of
course.
course. I believe it was Christmas Vacation. They had this issue too. They brought in a lot of fake snow. I think this scene in particular, they said that Randy was rolling in foam. Yeah.
Well, knowing this prop man, it might have been asbestos.
When they get to school and prank their teacher with these fake teeth, and then they all have to, hand over their fake teeth. I always think it's so funny when she opens her drawer and you see all these old timey toys she's collected, like the chattering teeth and just things that I know we've discussed how we didn't really know exactly what decade this took place in, but I feel like these toys really date it for me in a certain way.
I think, if anything, just the school setting, the way it looks, and yeah, like the fake teeth and all the gadgets. definitely makes it feel older than the rest of the movie. Like this should maybe have helped me a little bit understand. I don't know, specifically when they when she walks in and everyone has the fake teeth. I'm like, yeah, this is something like 50s kids would do, or sorry, 30s kids would do. It just doesn't. It seems just like so. I don't know. Like I'd see in an episode of something on Nick at Night.
Yeah, that's a
Like
good point.
little Ricky gets in trouble for wearing fake teeth.
Yeah. Yep.
Also, think it's super gross that she collects all 24 or whoever, how many students' fake teeth. It's all in their mouth. This is definitely way before COVID.
Yes.
Where's the hand sanitizer pump on the
Right.
desk?
Such a good point. You would think,
Ugh.
I'm pretty sure any other teacher now would just be like, please put these all in the trash. Don't even come near me.
Yeah. And from here, we go to the very famous
Mhm.
tongue on a flagpole.
Yes.
The more I get older, the more I love the narrator. Because as a kid, it's just like he's talking and explaining things, kind of like Gonzo. The narrator is a little bit funnier to me. It's not that he's super comedic, but he does have that little sarcastic,
Yeah.
dry delivery. And right before the tongue gets on the pole, like they're having a banter,
Hmm.
the as children do, the levels of dares,
Yes.
if
Yes.
we can be so bold to
Hmm.
say. And I love when he says Schwartz created a slight breach of etiquette by skipping the triple dare and going right for the throat.
I always think this is so funny because I see this now with my son because he's about this age, how serious certain things like this are to kids.
Yeah, you're not supposed to skip it. There's like levels. You have to know how serious we are about this dare or prank or whatever.
Hmm.
And Schwartz was serious.
Yep. Yeah, because it's double dog and then triple dog.
Double dare, double dog dare, triple
Oh,
dog
wow.
dare.
Okay.
Yeah, but he skipped the regular triple dare.
That's right. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Thank you for teaching me the levels of dares.
From what I understand, what I've read, to get Flick's tongue to stick to the
Hmm.
pole, there was, which is, a hollow pole. It is not a real frozen piece of metal.
Good.
That there was a tiny, you're right. Well, after reading about the chew, who knows?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
There is a little pinhole in which the actor stuck his tongue to it, and it was a vacuum
Hmm.
that would keep his tongue in
Hmm.
place. It still doesn't sound that much better, honestly. Like, it still sounds a little painful.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But this actually came up in another interview that I read with Peter Billingsley, and he said the kids all took turns getting their tongue stuck in this like suction thing.
Mm. Everyone licked the same pole. Very nice.
I also really love the little kid logic of I cannot stick around to help you because the bell rang.
The bell
But
rang.
the bell rang.
Mm.
And then everyone playing dumb when the teacher's asking where Flick is.
Yeah, the little girl just kind of like nonchalantly
Yeah.
pointing out the
But it
window.
always kills me when the narrator's like, Flick? Flick who? Like, he's
Hmm.
dead to me.
Dead
Yep.
to him.
Okay, can we talk about the bully?
Absolutely.
His name is Scut Farkus. I, my entire life, thought his name was Scott Farkus.
About 10 o'clock last night, I realized his name was Scott when typing my notes along with your notes. So I do not be embarrassed. I am in the same
Okay.
boat.
I literally only realized this because I was reading so many articles and interviews, and the actor who plays Scott Farkus is in a lot of these interviews because he apparently more than anyone goes to a lot of the fan conventions and meet and greets and, seeing his character name written out, it was definitely Scott Farkus, not Scott.
Yeah, I thought it was Scott for 30
Yeah,
years.
my whole life. But I mentioned this when we were talking about Hocus Pocus. I feel like bully characters are so cringy all the time. They're so ridiculous and so over the top, and usually their demands are something so stupid. Like, in Hocus Pocus,
Hmm.
it's like, I want your shoes. And it's like, no, why would I
Right.
give you my shoes? I think also looking back at this as, a grown adult, it's like, why? Just because you're maybe slightly bigger than me and you said so?
Yes.
Yeah, but I do enjoy the description of Scott Farkus in terms of him supposedly not even seeming human, his yellow eyes.
Yellow eyes, wolf
Yeah.
smile.
But still, what does he even do? He just like roars at them and they all run away, right?
That's like, well, he puts Schwartz in like an
Oh, yeah, yeah,
armhole
yeah.
and makes him say uncle. But for the most part, he's like puts his arms up and just goes rah and like scares them.
Right,
I'm like, this isn't even
exactly.
scary. And there are four of you. Beat the shit out of this kid.
Right, right. There's so many more of you. And also his toady is really small.
Yeah, I always call him the ACDC kid.
Yeah. I did have a thought that the way that kid is dressed is how older men now dress in like Brooklyn.
He was trying out for like a Scorsese film at the same time.
Yeah. He does really look like he just walked out of a play or something.
Yeah. My wife was watching this a little bit with me last night, and this came on when she was in the room, and she mentioned that Scott Farkas like is what she thinks of when she thinks of like a definitive like bully or a bad kid.
Yeah,
Like this pops in her
I can
head.
see that. It was funny because in one of the interviews I read with the actor, he said that one of his favorite things is to see little kids who are familiar with the movie realize that he is Scott Farkus. He's just grown up because parents will be like, oh, this is the bully in the movie. And it doesn't compute to this little kid because this is a grown man now. And he said something like
Right.
he'll lean into the kid and be like, it'll all catch up to you too.
She just lean in and just do
I know. I
Rah!
know.
And then they'll
Yep.
understand. Oddly enough, as often I've seen this movie, this actor, even though I know he's not Scott, but Scott, I always think of him from the television show Titus. He played Titus's younger brother, and
Oh,
I loved that show. That show was hilarious.
I'm not familiar with this.
Yeah, it was on Fox, and I think it probably got aired all out of order, like they do, and it got canceled,
Like they do.
like they do.
Yeah. Interesting.
But yeah, I was a big fan of that show, and I think the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, that's the bully from Christmas Story, and then it just became that. To me, it's what I associate this actor with is that role, and then this.
Wait, Titus, that was with a comedian named
Hmm.
Okay, no, I know this show. Okay. Yep. I don't remember much about it, but I remember like I can picture the lead guy now. Okay. I always like how proud Ralphie is when he is working on his essay for school. They call it a theme, I guess. But he's basically writing an essay of what you want for Christmas and he's describing how he wants his I'm going to keep saying BB gun. I can't say all the things. Okay.
Sure.
Um
Yes.
it's such little kid logic. Like, my argument is infallible. This is the best thing ever written. They're gonna read it and be
Hmm.
like, yes, you absolutely deserve this for Christmas. Also, A plus plus plus.
Right. 100.
Yep.
percent
I always think of the teacher kind of dancing along the length of the blackboard doing all the pluses. I don't know if you ever had this experience, but anytime I had to like write on the chalkboard in front of class, I literally hate writing on a chalkboard. I hate the friction of the chalk on the board, and if you press too hard then your nails scratch the board. It's not a good experience for me.
No, I never enjoyed it. Mostly because I just didn't want to be in front of
That
everybody.
too.
I was
Well,
nervous.
that too, yeah. I feel like somewhere in our teen years they switched over to finally using dry erase boards or whatever, but chalkboards were still very much a thing when I was in elementary school. Yeah.
Yes. I had him all the way through high school.
Oh, really? Hmm.
Hmm.
Maybe I did. I'll have to think about this now. We are the same age. Why did you go to old-timey school?
Budgetary cuts.
Okay. Well, now we get to the dinner scene, which I will let you describe in a second because you have the strong opinions on Ralphie here. But
Randy.
Randy, sorry. When the narrator says my mother had not had a hot meal for herself in 15 years because she keeps getting up and doing things for the kids and getting the dad more food, whatever. When
Hmm.
my son was a baby, we would quote this all the time, my husband and I, just whether we were eating dinner or not, just because we had to keep getting up and, making him a bottle or changing his diaper or whatever, because they can't do anything for themselves. And yeah, this is what I think of now. I never, obviously, when I was a kid, this did not mean too much to me. But then as a parent, it's like,
Right.
oh, yeah, I feel
Yeah.
that.
Hmm. I can see that. Yeah.
Hmm.
The mom tries to get Randy to eat because he again will not eat his
Hmm.
dinner, and she says, "How did the piggies go? Show me how the piggies
Hmm.
eat." And he's just like face first into this like messy dish. He's not really even eating it. He's just like plowing it around with his face.
Right. Yeah. That's what I always think of in that scene. Is he even getting any of it in his mouth or is he just moving it around?
Yeah. Which then, of course, the mom is entertaining the child to get him to eat. So her food's just getting colder, obviously, and still
Of
uneaten as
course. Yeah.
well. Poor mom. But yeah, I think I would just like, we don't want to eat, go to bed hungry. Instead of getting up to get seconds for Ralphie and the old man, just hand him over Randy's
Yeah.
plate. Randy, go to bed.
I mean, I never really had this situation with my kid, which I realize is very lucky. My kids always
Hmm.
just loved food and loved trying different foods. So I've never had the situation where he wouldn't eat something, but I feel like every person I know who has kids has had a situation where their kid has just made an absolute mess eating. And they think of this part, the show me how the little piggies eat, because my son had that. Uh, Shoot, he was 1 or 2. We were trying to get him to eat yogurt with a spoon, and he ended up with the yogurt all over his face. We have pictures of it where it looks like a face mask, but he was literally just putting his face in the bowl of yogurt, and it was, "Show me how the little piggies eat." What
Oh
else would
boy.
you think of? So this brings us to the old man getting his award delivered. Another thing we quote all the time,
All the
"Fragile."
time.
Must be Italian.
All the
Yep.
time. There's not one time ever I've seen the word fragile and not have said fragile out
Yep,
loud.
exactly.
I don't care how unfunny it is.
Oh, yeah. We say this all the time, just even when we get an Amazon package that, you know, it's probably really
Hmm.
nothing important.
No, not as important as this
Oh, of
award.
course. So I did learn that this is one of the few interior shots that they really did film inside the house. I don't know why this in particular, maybe because they had to go inside and outside for this scene. So a lot of the interiors were filmed on a soundstage in Toronto. It was more so the exterior of this house in Cleveland that they used and the neighborhood. Few things were filmed inside. This was one of them. They also made sure not to show the boys the leg lamp until they filmed this.
Oh,
So,
really?
right. So in the script, they knew there was some big award that he wins and he makes a big deal out of it, but they did not know exactly what that was going to be. So, according to Peter Billingsley, when you see him really in awe of it and running his hand up the leg, that was his real reaction.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Obviously, it's hilarious how horrified the mom is,
Oh, yeah.
contrasted with how over the top excited the dad is for this nonsensical thing. It's also so funny to me because, again, living in Cleveland, this is such a big deal. People have leg lamps in their windows at Christmas time. You can drive through neighborhoods and see leg lamps everywhere. It's the joke is that it's such a nonsensical, weird thing while also being like slightly inappropriate with the fishnets and whatnot. But to me, I'm used to seeing it all the time that this has become a Christmas thing to me. Like this guy might as
Yes.
well be putting Christmas lights up or making a snowman or whatever. That this part of the movie kind of lost its impact.
Well, maybe now, yes,
Hmm.
but at
Oh,
12,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, well, that is very weird. Why did he win this?
Right.
What contest was he entering, first of all?
Well, yeah. Yeah, but now I have a leg lamp ornament that I put on my tree every year.
Right. But yeah, I remember watching this as a kid and not quite being on the dad's side, not quite being on the mom's side, because I didn't think it was that weird where like the mom clearly hates it, but I definitely thought the dad was way too proud of this weird thing.
Yeah.
But that made it funny to me. Obviously, it's what it's supposed to do for those who don't live in Cleveland.
Right. I think it's so funny when the dad says he wants to see what it looks like from the street, and the mom's like, "Can't we talk this over?"
Right. I know where it's going to go. Right in the front window.
And then he
Yeah.
goes outside, and a neighbor says, "What's that?" And he says, "It's a major award." That neighbor is Bob Clark, our director. Mhm.
Nice. Little Hitchcock
Yeah.
moment.
Hmm.
We kind of mentioned it a little bit, but Ralphie is feeling up the leg, not just when it comes out of the box, but like when the dad's out in the street talking to the neighbor and they're like centering it for him.
Right.
He's still like feeling it up and down. The mom keeps like batting the
I
hand
know.
away.
I think that's what makes it so funny to me is the mom swatting his hand away. Like,
Hmm.
yes, we're putting this on public display, but also don't touch it.
Don't touch it like that, especially in the window where Bob Clark can see you.
For Bob Clark.
And then there's like a part of the narration later on. The narrator refers to the lamp as electric sex gleaming in the
Hmm.
window.
Yeah.
So obviously there's a little contention, like you mentioned, with the mom and the dad with this lake lamp. And I think it's a scene or two later. They're the next night or whatever. They're going to go get the family Christmas tree,
Hmm.
and they're going on the way out. And the mom, so yeah, I forgot something, and she goes inside to turn the lake lamp off. And she comes back out. And she goes, "Oh, to save electricity." And then the narrator says, "My mother was about to make another brilliant maneuver in the legendary Battle of the Lamp. The epic struggle which follows lives in the folklore of Cleveland Street to this very day."
Yeah.
The way Shepard delivers all these
Hmm.
lines, I feel like as a kid, it's almost like the Charlie Brown teacher voice. Like I hear him
Hmm.
and I understand what he's saying, the context, but I don't hear the exact words he's
Hmm.
using. And yes, as we always say, when you take notes of the podcast, we notice him a little bit more. But as I've gotten older, every year I think I've liked more and more of the narrator's lines because I'm paying more attention to them.
Yeah. And for me, I like that description of things because this is just a movie about kind of a regular family in a regular neighborhood planning their
Hmm.
Christmas. It's not like any kind of big story like Home Alone. This kid gets left alone, chaos ensues. Christmas vacation,
Right.
they're all the relatives are coming to visit and stay with them. Chaos ensues. This is very low stakes, I guess, compared to some of the other holiday movies. And it's also not
Yeah.
trying to teach you some fantastical lesson about the meaning of Christmas. It's just
Sure.
here's this family in this neighborhood, and this is the thing that happened on Christmas that we keep talking about. Hmm.
Yeah. Well, it makes it
Yeah.
relatable to most of America. I would
Hmm.
imagine.
And almost funny too when you think this was supposed to take place in the 40s, I guess, how relatable it still is for people like us.
Right.
Yeah. Because, like, as we have said, a lot of our Christmas traditions revolve around the television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Media that did not exist at the time.
So they buy their tree and they're going home to get a flat tire. And the mom encourages Ralphie to help the old man. And he gets really excited because he's never got to do something like that before.
Hmm.
And ends up like getting in the way and spilling all the lug nuts for the tire.
Hmm.
And he has a swear.
Yep.
He has a swear in front of his father.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm kind of curious now if this might have been the one swear in the movie that Mr. Higby cut out.
I couldn't help thinking that too of this scene where I
Yeah.
mean I'm willing to bet they did not have Ralphie really saying the F word in this PG rated movie.
No,
Um
I was joking.
no, I don't. But I couldn't help thinking of this like, oh haha, the vice president of Higbee's got it turned to fudge. Yeah.
Yeah. I will randomly say this sometimes when I shouldn't be swearing, but I'll say it in the very like slow mo. Oh,
Yeah.
fudge! And everyone looks at me at work, and then I'll say, only I didn't say fudge. Like I'll say the whole thing and confuse everybody. They're like, you just did say fudge.
Yeah, how do you All right, people at work need to get up to speed on your film references.
Like there's like one or two guys that understand. The rest are somehow both too old or too young.
I see. I read that Ralphie, well, the actor, Peter Billingsley, he really did have to say the F word because his mouth wouldn't look right if he wasn't saying it for real.
Hmm.
Which, again, all this attention to detail, like you had to really chew the real tobacco.
It's weird though because they pan away from it too.
Oh, that's
Like
a
he
good
starts
point.
saying and then they like move away from his
Maybe
mouth.
that's what the VP of Higbee's got cut.
Oh, he's like, I can read
I
lips,
can
damn it.
read lips. But Peter Billingsley said he was so scandalized as a kid that he was basically saying the F word over and over again. Or at least other people on set were. He was like, I don't know. This was my third movie set, at least. I've heard swearing before. Oh, I love, though, when they get back into the car and it's, I don't know. It's just funny to me that this is such a huge deal. I mean, yes, no one, I guess, really wants their kid going around saying the F word, but the way his dad is hyping it up to his mom and then the scream that comes out of his mom, it's, you would have thought Ralphie went out there and committed murder. She's very beside herself.
Yeah, trying to put myself in the late 30s, early
Mhm.
40s, and I can maybe get because times are different,
Yes, yes.
and I can probably understand maybe why she's upset. Her 9-year-old said that word.
Right.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't want my 9-year-old niece or nephew to go around saying that, but maybe I don't know. By the side of the road when you're working on the car with the old man,
Right.
maybe you can slip an F word here. Maybe I don't know. I'm kind of seeing both sides of the coin here.
Yeah, well, and I find it so funny later that, he does say, I heard it from the old man whenever he's wrestling with the furnace or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
says it in the future. The narrator says
Right,
it.
right.
Yeah,
Um,
he does not dare play that game with mom.
oh, of course, right. So yeah, we're back at home and he has a bar of soap in his mouth to wash his mouth out.
Hmm.
Did people really do that?
It's a very old school thing. Yeah.
Okay. I do think it's so funny when the narrator's explaining the taste of the different soaps. Yeah.
Yes, he's a soap connoisseur at this point.
Right. Although if he is a soap connoisseur, why are they so shocked he said the F word then? But yeah, so this leads us first of all to Ralphie telling his mom that he heard the word from his friend Schwartz because he can't possibly say he heard it from his dad. I always
Right.
think it's so funny that you can hear Schwartz's mom through the phone and she has this really just screechy, like, what?
Straight. Yeah. Like a parrot.
Right? And then the way she just full on beats her child for swearing.
I love that because you can hear it. It's hilarious, but she's on the phone and Schwartz doesn't have no idea who or what she's talking to, and she just is like beating the shit out of him. It's like, what did I do, mom? What did I do? Just tell me what I did.
It's like horrible. And
Horribly
I know.
funny.
And then the way Ralphie's mom reacts to it as well, she's very shocked.
Yeah.
I think doesn't she slowly hang up the phone? Yes.
Yes. At
It's
this point, there's no more conversation to be had.
right, right. But then this brings us to Ralphie's imagining him being older and having gone blind from soap poisoning from having been punished with soap so much. And
Right.
again, I love the over the top dialogue when he's imagining these things when he says, "It was soap poisoning," and then the way his parents wail. I love
Yeah.
it.
It's so good.
Yep. The next scene, Ralphie gets his little orphan Annie decoder ring in the mail to decode the message on the radio show. I love when he realizes it says, "Be sure to drink your Ovaltine," and he says, "It was a crummy ad or a crummy commercial." And
Yeah.
I feel this way when I'm on social media and I see something that might be interesting and I realize it's sponsored content.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And my reaction is the same as
Yep.
Ralphie's. Son of a
Yep.
bitch.
And I think anytime Ovaltine or something like that is brought up, be sure to drink your Ovaltine. I think of this all the
Mm-hmm.
time.
I like that he escapes to the bathroom to do this secret message that like no one can
Right,
see because he has
right.
his decoder ring. And the second he goes in there, people start pounding on the door. Like this kid's been in there for 30 seconds,
That is
man.
true, yeah. Yeah, for all they know, he could have had to go. Yeah.
Right. Then the dad is in the basement and
Mhm.
the mom sneaks off with a little watering plant
Mhm.
and we hear a crash
Mhm.
and the leg lamp is dead.
Yeah.
And what I find funny is that the dad again is in the basement playing with the furnace, as I mentioned, and he's swearing it up. And by swearing up, like we don't hear anything; we just hear like noises, and it's. And I'll mention this later, so I'll just get it out of the way now. Between the dad and like how when Ralphie's beating up the bully, it's very Joe Pesci from Home Alone swearing. Just like you don't hear any words. It's like
Oh, yeah.
and like that's the swearing in the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
It's inaudible
Mhm.
nonsense. And they bring all that up because how did he hear the leg lamp crash when he's down there tinkering and there's like
Mhm.
banging and explosions and he's swearing?
It's a good point.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but the narrator says when the mom was off camera with the watering plant and right before the crash is heard, what happened next was family controversy for
Yep.
years. Kind of makes me want to go and read these other stories and see how often that might come back.
Yeah, I'm actually very interested in reading Gene Shepherd's work now that I did this deep dive into all of this. But yeah, that line, what happened next was family controversy for years. That's up there with the lore of Cleveland Street, the whole this is not a high stakes kind of movie, but for them it's very slice of life, right? But for them
Yes,
this is all very important because this is their whole microcosm. But
right.
yep. But yeah, I don't know if I blame the mom if she did it on purpose.
Oh, she definitely did it on
Hmm.
purpose.
That's my
Yeah.
feeling too.
I mean, the dad
Yeah.
knows. He literally says, "You did it on purpose. I'm gonna glue it together. There's no more glue. You used up all the glue
I
on
know, I
purpose."
love that. He used all the glue on purpose.
Immediately gets his coat and hat and goes to buy more glue.
Yeah.
Like it needs to happen now.
I also like that the mom knew right away there was no more glue. Like it's something that
Well,
you
because
use a lot. Speaking of your Joe Pesci swearing, we get to Ralphie beating up Scut Farkas, not Scott Farkas.
Scott.
I really feel for Ralphie in this scene. Just, I don't know. I don't understand sometimes how people expect like kids not to be like pushed to a limit and
Hmm.
just how emotional he is, obviously. I always like his mom in this bit because I feel like she understands that too, that it's not, yes, he did something quote unquote wrong, right? Like it's, you shouldn't hit people, whatever. But I like how understanding his mom is and how she really has his
Right.
back later when his dad comes home.
Kids don't understand that the breaking point of other kids.
True. Yeah.
There's a
Hmm.
hierarchy, right? Like the bully is the bully, and he will always be the
Right.
bully, and his job is to
Right.
bully, and the other kids' jobs are to get bullied. And
Yes.
so that is the
Yeah.
dynamic. Hence, like the 4-on-2, like they could easily beat these kids up. I mean, his toady is smaller than Randy,
Right. Yeah. Especially when you
but
consider
he
all the
sure
winter
does.
layers Randy is wearing. Hmm.
Right? Yes, but he's a tough little Brooklyn kid living in Indiana that's dressed like Cleveland.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love when he's beating him up and the little toady tries to stop him. Like, he's not even trying to like attack Ralphie back. He's just like, "Hey man, come on, stop!"
Hmm.
And he pushes the little toady guy
Yeah.
down. He's like, "I'm telling my dad or mom," for what he
Yeah.
says there. But
Yeah.
like all of a sudden, it's
Not
like,
so tough.
I mean, they've been doing violence to these kids, and now it's put back on them. And like now, I'm tattling on you. You're doing a bad thing,
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
roles got
Yeah.
reversed.
This brings me to one of my favorite parts in this movie. It's also my brother's favorite part, so I always think of him when they're back at home and the mom has Ralphie all settled and she's making dinner and she hears Randy crying in the cupboard under the sink. And
Yeah.
the way he says, "Daddy's gonna kill Ralphie." And, the mom's like, "No, he's not." And they go back and forth. And then she's like, "You want to stay in the cupboard? Okay." And she gives him some milk and closes the door.
Yeah. Here you
Yeah.
go.
hmm it
This,
kills me every time.
yeah. I mean, at this point, anything to get nutrition in that son, might as well. You want to drink milk in the cupboard? Sure. You want to eat a sandwich in the closet? Sure. Like, this kid doesn't eat. Give him
Right,
something.
that's fair too. On the total flip side of this, the mom is being so gentle and motherly in this scene. Then when they're at the parade and Ralphie's bugging them to like hurry up and go see Santa as if this is, his last chance to get his gift that he really wants. The way the dad is like, "Shut up, Ralphie." They're
Right.
at a Christmas
Yeah.
parade.
Well, Ralphie's being a little bit of a buzzkill
Sure,
here,
yeah.
okay? The family's trying to enjoy the parade. They went downtown. They went all the way from Indiana to Cleveland. It was a long drive for this parade, and they better enjoy it. And, don't forget, Randy's the younger brother. He's more inclined to like these sort of things. And Ralphie's getting older. He's impatient, but also like you said, he wants to go talk to Santa before his last chance is
Mhm.
gone. But he's like really bugging everybody to leave. And they're very nice to him for a while. Even the mom's like, "Ralphie, will you please be
Yeah,
quiet?" And that's when the dad jumps in and is like, "Okay, that's the old man said it. Now I better stop."
that's fair, yeah. But again, little kid logic, he failed with his mom, he failed with his teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's telling him he'll shoot his
Mm-hmm.
eye out. Santa at Higbee's is his last chance.
Last ditch effort. Here
Yep.
we go.
I did have a note that downtown Cleveland looks really good in this scene.
It sure
Yep.
does.
This parade was filmed at 3 a.m., by the way.
Okay, were the kids' parts filmed at 3 a.m. or just the parade part?
So there was a bit of an interview with Peter Billingsley where he said that child labor laws were apparently pretty lax in Ohio and Toronto because he didn't really have that hard cutoff like we talked about with Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. I guess some of
Okay.
these child labor laws were specific to California, which I was
Hmm.
surprised about because also that didn't seem to be the issue with Home Alone, which was filmed in the Chicago area. I don't know the nuance of all these Coogan laws, but just interesting that Jackie Coogan's grandson was considered for the role of Ralphie, and then they're like, forget all those rules.
Yeah, he might tell him
Yeah.
this. Hire the other
Yeah,
kid.
right? That kid's too familiar with the law.
Bird law.
Oh.
Maybe the differences with the states is I'm assuming this is for like the child labor
Mhm,
laws
mhm.
specifically are for the actors. So it would make sense for California, possibly New York, Chicago. Cleveland's like, we don't make movies here. Yeah, you can stay up as long you want. Film till 3 a.m. with these kids. We don't care. Give us some money.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny that you mentioned that too, because there's the same thing happening now with laws for influencers who include their kids in their content.
Mhm.
California was one of the first states to have a law about hours worked, fairly compensating them, like putting a certain amount of money away that is in an account for the children. And as a result, there are some like popular influencer families who are moving out of California.
That's, hmm,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
like
because they
that.
want to shoot parade scenes at 3 a.m. But part of what I read was that some of this was, I mean, it had to be filmed at night because of the Christmas lights, obviously, but some of it too, the Cleveland scenes, they had to wait till it was dark because there were different skyscrapers in the midst of being built at this time. Also some that already were built and it wouldn't have been right for the time period. So they waited until it was dark to sort of hide these other buildings, but like I said, it's not like you'd really have the Christmas lights all on in the daytime anyway, so
I also assumed 3 a.m. shoot was, probably the very lack of traffic in public square.
yes, I feel like we see this a lot with different movie sets where a town is so excited to have them come film and then they realize the reality of daily life while trying to film a scene. But
Well, yeah, it's been almost a whole season, and this might be our first Wizard of Oz connection. We finally got one.
Yeah.
Yay.
Hmm.
Um, they look so scary to me. they like I don't know. The costumes are silly. Tin Man looks good. The Lion and Scarecrow look goofy. I also really like that the flying monkeys are just swarming Mickey
Oh,
Mouse.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like old fashioned costuming or makeup, it really ends up looking terrifying sometimes. Have you
Hmm.
ever seen
Yeah.
the pictures of the old fashioned Easter bunnies? Yeah,
Yes.
nightmare fuel.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
But this interior scene of Higbee's when Ralphie and Randy are in line waiting to see Santa. I'm sure a lot of people know this already, but the man who tells Ralphie that the line ends all the way in the back of the store, that is Gene Shepard, our author and co-screenwriter. The woman with him is Lee Brown, his real life wife, who also co-wrote the screenplay. This remains the most stressful Santa visit I have ever seen.
Yeah, this it has to be up there.
Well, and it's such a contrast to what we saw in Home Alone, where that Santa was very much leaving work and then he hurries up and gets back into character just for Macaulay Culkin.
Right.
Total difference.
I couldn't help feeling this time around watching this scene play out. The screenwriters for Bad Santa like literally took the whole concept for the movie off this scene. That's how I personally feel at this point.
I can see that. Yeah, because the Santa is a shit. Like the whole time, the he obviously wants to go home. I mean, we know that Ralphie and Randy are kind of the end of the line anyway, but it doesn't help that Ralphie clams up, right? But the
Right.
Santa's just pushing him and he's like, "Okay, how about a nice football?" And my husband and I quote this all the time too. Football? What's a football? But then yeah, the way he stops himself from going down the slide, which by the way, why is there a giant slide to leave Santa? I've never seen anything like this before or since.
No, I don't know. It's the only time I've seen it
It just
myself.
makes it a little
It's kind of it's kind of cool. I kind of wish like when I was little and saw Santa, I had a slide to go down at the end.
sure. I was actually going to say I feel like it made it even more intimidating because Santa's like up high on this throne above the Higbees.
Yeah, it's Throne of
His throne of
Toys.
toys. Okay.
Yeah. I just love that every kid is like screaming and they just push down the
Yeah.
slide. There's even one that like wets his pants or something because he's like, why is this one wet? And that's why I think this scene inspired the entire
Hmm.
Bad Santa movie because I'm pretty sure that also happens in that movie.
Yeah. I've only seen Bad Santa once, so I don't remember. And then, finished out with Santa literally tapping Ralphie with the bottom of his shoe to push him down the slide after he tells him he'll shoot his
Hmm.
eye out. Just how defeated Ralphie is because he's not going to get what he really wants for Christmas, combined with how awful this Santa is.
Hmm.
Also, the most
You had
red
mentioned,
faced Santa I've ever seen.
well,
Got to make him look scary, I
maybe,
guess.
yeah, he kind of looks demonic. No, that's not the right word. He looks kind of like a drunk. Again, I don't know. Maybe I'm blurring the lines with
I
Bad
know, I'm
Santa,
kind of thinking
but yeah,
that too, yeah.
he's got like the gin blossoms and the swollen nose, and it's all red.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's just Santa makeup, but yeah,
It's funny, I never took my son to visit Santa at the mall or anything like that because I didn't really care, and even as he was a little older, I would be like, "Oh, do you wanna go do Santa?" He's like, "Why would I wanna sit on some guy's lap who I don't know?" I was like, "That's fair."
right. That's
And
fair.
then, of
Yeah,
course, when I introduced him to this movie, he was like, "Oh, wow, I'm so glad you've never taken me to that." I'm like, "That's not really how it goes, actually."
that's not how it
There's never
goes.
been a
Yeah, no.
slide. There's never and like you said too, they all sound terrified when they're going down the slide, as if it is the least fun thing.
Well, I don't think they're terrified of the slide. That's just the way to get the kids away from Santa the fastest, I think. Because by the time they all sit on Santa's lap, they're screaming because they're afraid of
Oh,
Santa.
I see,
And
right.
they're like, all right, they like yeet the kids off the throne of toys via
Yes,
slide.
slide.
You had wrote, and I totally agree. Just the change very briefly of the point of view to when like they're sitting Ralphie on the lap,
Mhm.
and just how it's almost like, I think it's like fisheye. It's so
Yes, it's
creepy.
so disorienting, especially because it's Ralphie's point of view when they're flipping him around to sit on Santa. Yeah.
Hmm.
I feel like it's somewhat how we talked about Home Alone being shot from sort of the kids' height. They tried to do that with this movie as well to make things look a little more fantastical, I guess. The way a kid would see it, everything looks really big and impressive to them because they're
Right.
small.
As I mentioned earlier, my wife was watching a little bit of this with me, and she went in the other room to go do some stuff or whatever. And we're at this scene with all the kids going down the slide. She comes back in the room. She goes, "If I didn't know you were watching this movie, I would think you're watching a horror movie because of all the screaming going on. Sounds like someone's getting murdered."
Yeah. Well, and I feel like it's a particular type of like the echo of it or something. The kids yelling,
Hmm.
but then the sound of the slide, I don't know. I could you could play this and I would know it's a Christmas story. This particular yelling. Does that
Okay.
make any sense to you? Okay.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I understand what she's
I see.
saying that if you were in another room, yes, this sounds horrible. I do love the end of this scene at Higbee's where the parents come and scoop them up. They're still just laying there dazed at the end of the slide.
Hmm. Yeah, Ralphie looks like he's almost in a like the inside of a coffin,
Yeah, catatonic,
let down.
literally.
Well, yeah,
Literally and emotionally.
they're back at the house decorating the tree, and the lights aren't working because there's a bulb out. And the old man and the mom are, I wouldn't say arguing, but they're going back and forth about which bulb is out. And I think the mom's like, "Oh, it's a blue one," and the dad says, "The green one is out. I'm not colorblind." And the mom says, "I'm not colorblind either." And then he fixes a blue bulb when the blue lights come on and all the lights work. He goes, "See, I told you it was
Yeah.
green. Maybe you are colorblind, sir."
Yep. But when the little bit where they're arguing about like I'm not colorblind either. Such a married couple kind of. They've been
Yeah,
together a long
yeah.
time.
I also found it, I don't want to say disturbing, just an odd choice of how he fixes the green blue bulb. He like takes the bottom of it, the connector part, he like puts it in his mouth for a second, like he's like lubricating
I
it, I
miss
suppose.
that.
And then he puts it in. It's like, "Oh God, that's very dangerous, sir. Why are you doing that?" But it
Yeah, it
worked.
worked.
He fixed the green light.
I love when Ralphie and Randy wake up Christmas morning. Like, I know what this felt like as a kid to run downstairs and see what's under the tree. And even though obviously I did not believe in Santa for very much of my life, just the magic of there being nothing there and you waking up and everything's changed definitely captures how exciting this all was for an actual kid at Christmas. But now, of course, I very much relate to the mom telling everyone to wait for Christmas to start and then
Yes.
arguing over who gets to play Santa.
Yeah. When they're old enough, it's nice because they can play Santa. You can just sit there and drink your coffee.
Yep.
They hand you the presents.
Yep. I mean, we only have one kid, but we still somehow always have to be like, wait, don't open that one first. Wait, no, this one. No, wait.
You need to arrange them under and around the tree in like the order of which you need them to be. Like hide the good ones in the back.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like how the dad hid the gun behind the desk.
We have to hide the dogs because she can tell we've wrapped dog treats.
Well,
Mhm.
right. Yes.
She's really good at opening her presents on her own, though.
Ours are too, oddly
Really?
enough.
That's funny.
Yeah. They're very delicate. They open it probably better than I open
Yeah.
mine, quite honestly. And then when they find out it's a stuffy, all hell breaks loose. It looks like it snowed inside my house.
Oh, no. See, our dog does not care about toys. Just give her treats. We always, every year,
They
she
like,
gets the salmon skin treats from Trader Joe's.
nice.
They are her favorite. But yeah, poor Ralphie in his pink bunny suit.
Horrible.
Horrible.
How come that aunt, the same aunt that made this bunny suit, how come Randy didn't get anything?
I always think about that because his mom makes the comment about, okay, you only have to wear it when Aunt Clara comes to visit. It's like, did she not get anything for the other boy?
Unless it was like a toy and he got to enjoy it better.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Although speaking of that, I
But
love how Randy falls asleep with his Zeppelin.
Yes, yeah. At the very end, he loved that
Mm-hmm.
Zeppelin. This bunny suit, it looks like he was draped in Pepto Bismol.
Yep.
The dad, like, he looks like a deranged Easter
Yeah.
bunny. He looks like a pink nightmare.
Every once in a while, the dad has his back. Yeah,
Yes, yeah. Well, this is 1939. The dad's got to be tough and
of
stoic.
course, right? Speaking of that, I guess I've never watched it this closely the way the dad is talking to Ralphie on the couch right before he realizes, he has one more gift behind the desk or whatever it is, which is the
Hmm.
BB gun. First of all, I guess I hadn't realized before that his parents are drinking like morning Christmas wine.
Hell yeah,
Yeah,
they are. It's Christmas for them too.
of
Damn it.
course. But I like how this whole movie, Ralphie's dad is obviously very gruff, but also pretty oblivious to the kids. Like even at dinner, he's reading the paper. I don't feel like he's very stereotypical older dad, right? He's not as involved. He's definitely not as emotional or comforting, but he's the one that comes through with the gift that Ralphie really, really wanted. And
Hmm.
obviously, he's the one that decided it was okay to buy it because the mom is still very much like, I don't like this.
I don't even think she knew about it.
That could be true too, yeah.
She seems a little surprised too when he's like, "Oh, there's something behind the
Oh,
desk," and
okay.
she kind of gives him a side eye.
Mhm.
I've always laughed when they're still doing the gifts before the BB gun is
Mhm.
revealed. Yeah, and the mom's starting to play Santa because the kids are playing with their toys, and I think Ralphie's changing into the Pink Nightmare, which is like, "Oh, I got some. There's something else for you under the tree," and it's clearly a bowling
Yes,
ball,
yes.
but like she's just like kind of lightly, but drops it in his crotch. He's like, "Oh!" He like speaks in a high falsetto afterwards.
Yes. Yep. I do always feel so bad for Ralphie though, the first time he goes out with his BB gun and it's the backfire, right? Like that gets him in the face. Like
Yeah, like
the
I'm assuming it ricochets off of whatever he shoots.
See, I thought it was like the backfire and he hits himself with the butt of the gun.
They show what he shoots, and you hear that like ricochet sound, and then
Mm,
his reaction, and then he goes, "I really did shoot my eye out," because it's not a bullet; it's not going to go through anything. It's going to hit and bounce off.
okay, we're
It's a
gonna
little
have
metal
to
ball.
rewatch this because this is like a big thing to disagree on. But generally, I feel so bad that the very first time he fires that thing, he gets hurt. And then on top of that, he steps on his glasses. Yep.
Right. As a kid with glasses, this is like the one of the things you don't want to do,
Yep.
and it's very scary because especially like being in the very similar social economic class that this family is in, you're
Mhm.
like, yeah, these glasses, like this is my lifeline here. Like I
Yep.
need these to
Yep.
see, and my parents paid money for these, and if
Yes.
I don't have them, I can't see, and I'll also be in trouble.
Yep.
And it's I can relate so much to Ralphie in this scene and the scene earlier where he beats up Farkas, and as a older Joe, but still not out of high school, there was a confrontation I almost got into with another kid,
Hmm.
and we get in each other's face, and he pulls the classic line of, "Well, I wouldn't hit a kid with glasses." I literally took them off and threw them against a brick wall, and he's like, "Nope, you're gonna get in more trouble at home. I'm leaving. Bye." Like you are clearly meaning business. I am done.
Wow.
Yeah, and I kind of between these two scenes always remember that because um, I think I lied and said that I did get hit in the face and because the glasses were
Oh my
obliterated. Like
God.
they smashed against the brick wall. I was like, "Yeah, I got no fight, Dad." He's like, "Why?" And I don't know what I said after that, but I made sure I wasn't the one that said I broke my glasses to prove a point.
Right. Right. Damn. You're kind of hardcore.
I have my
Yeah.
moments.
I did not wear glasses as a kid. I cannot relate to any of this.
So yeah, another thing I can relate to is like I just said, lying about how my glasses broke.
Yep.
And it works. He lies to the mom so that an icicle fell from the garage, and that's how he has the cut under his eye, and his
Hmm.
glasses broke because he clearly doesn't want to get in trouble. Mostly, I think, for fear of losing the gun that he just got.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
they're in the bathroom. She's washing him up, and the narrator's like, "Oh, it worked!" And then young Ralphie, the child, the physical Ralphie we see, turns his head and just kind of gives a little like
Hmm.
smile and a wink. And I think the only time
Yeah.
the actor breaks the fourth
I think
wall.
so, yeah. Because that stuck out to me this time too. This brings us to the poor old man who was waiting for the turkey to be done.
Poor, poor old man.
I wrote down this line. This is what the narrator says while the dad is reading the paper, oblivious to the fact that the hounds have broken into the house. Sometimes, at the height of our revelries, when our joy is at its zenith, when all is most right with the world, the most unthinkable disasters descend upon us. Of course, the dogs eat the turkey.
Hearing the narrator
Mhm.
narrate as an adult and the way the words are put together, it's almost like poetic. Like as
Mhm.
a kid, I'm just like, huh, what's that mean? Oh, some bad things happen. Okay, cool.
Right. Yeah. I read that this part in particular is a good example of his writing and why he thought of himself as maybe more of a dark comedy sort of thing. He never thought of himself as a nostalgic writer or some of the descriptors that people put on him because he was someone writing about his childhood. He didn't see himself as writing about it in a cutesy feel good kind of way. Does that make
Sure.
sense? Okay. And he
Yeah.
felt like A Christmas Story sanitized it a little too much.
Without having read or listened to any of his other works, I feel like he falls in between. Granted, this is
Mhm.
two other screenwriters working on it, so they might have polished up a little bit. But I felt maybe his fan base after this movie maybe not understood
Mhm.
him, but I also
Yes.
think maybe he thought himself more of a quote unquote rebel or something like that, where it's like, oh, I'm a darker writer about myself. And I
Yes.
feel like, well, maybe you're thinking more of yourself than you really are, but I'd have to go back and actually read or listen to his original works.
Mhm.
But I don't think anything in here gives us an example of him being darker, just more realistic,
Maybe, yeah.
a little dry.
Yeah, I could see that.
If anything, like emotionally unattached.
Mhm. Mhm. That being said, the way the old man yells, "Sons of bitches, bumpuses," out the door in
Oh
his,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
screechy, high-pitched kinda tone, like, that lives in my head.
mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
"Bumpuses!"
a sons of bitches. So
You
good.
sound like one of the ghosts from The Christmas Carol.
Ghost of Turkey Dinner
I
Past.
don't know. I don't know, like the Marleys. Yep.
Nice.
I love when the mom gets into the kitchen and sees what happened and her shrill crying and then Ralphie kind of tapping her and offering her the rag that he had on his injury.
That's cute.
Mhm. Then we
Then
finish
we
out at the
then
Chinese
we
restaurant, yeah.
yeah, we get Christmas duck
Mhm.
instead. I love how it feels like they've never been to a Chinese restaurant before, or at least not have had a roasted duck from this particular restaurant before,
Sure.
because they're giggling when it comes out and they're reacting a certain
Mhm.
way. And the owner's like, "What's going on?" And Dad's like, "It's smiling at
Yeah,
me because the head and neck is still
right.
attached." And he goes, "Okay," and he whacks it right off in front of
Yep.
everybody, like it's just so nonchalant, like, "Oh, problem solved. This makes it better, right?"
Right? This is better, right? I guess
Well, that's it.
I could see them not having been to a Chinese restaurant where they would order a whole bird.
Sure,
So,
yeah. And then roll
yep.
credits. So watching the credits while I was finishing my notes, I noticed something that reminded me of the Scream discussion about Santa Rosa, how they went out of their way to not thank them.
Yes.
I thought it was nice here in the credits. The producers wish to thank the city of Cleveland and the Higby Company for their extensive cooperation.
Mhm. And they really did.
Versus, yeah, I mean, let them shoot at 3 o'clock in the
Mhm.
morning, giving kids tobacco. Oh wait, that wasn't them. Sorry,
He could have been a local, who knows?
it's true. That's that's fair.
But yeah, so if you want something done right or super realistically, make your movie in Cleveland.
There we go.
There we go. So, when A Christmas Story was released in it was like Thanksgiving time, 1983, I think is what we said the release date was. They called it a moderate success, but it was actually out of most theaters by the time Christmas 1983 rolled around. Yeah, which is obviously not great, right, for the audience they were going for.
Yeah, having your very specifically Christmas movie pulled before Christmas kind of is a big owie.
Right. It grossed 19.2 million on this initial run, and the estimated budget was 3 to 4 million, like I said, depending on the source you're looking at. It was actually re-released for Christmas 1984, so the following year, which coincided with its home video release, and it did a lot better than its initial release. I don't know if this was from word of mouth because again, this coincided with home video, so I don't know why people would have discovered it in the meantime because there wasn't a way to.
Personal
Mhm.
theory, re released for Christmas
I mean,
1984.
sure.
That's all I got to go with.
Yeah. Roger Ebert suggested that the film didn't do well on its first run because holiday movies weren't popular at the time. And I feel like this is something that keeps getting brought up, maybe more so with our Halloween movies, but we keep hearing things about holidays weren't as popular. People didn't spend as much time or money on celebrating holidays. Holiday movies weren't a thing. Apparently, Halloween movies weren't a thing until they invented Hocus Pocus. I don't know. Um and I mean even with something like Home Alone that was such a huge hit, they really didn't think it was going to be that big of a hit. They didn't even want to put more money into it, budget-wise.
And I'm a little confused. The Halloween stuff, okay, sure, maybe, but which I guess I should disagree with, except for the Hocus Pocus part. There weren't Halloween movies for kids, I guess.
Mhm.
But with the Christmas movies, this quote from Egbert specifically, like, I mean, I grew up watching like old black and white Christmas movies, so they've
Mhm.
existed for a long time. People have made a lot of money off it. There's like a bajillion Christmas carols.
Right. And this is still a time too when going to the movies was still seen as a pretty inexpensive family outing.
Yeah,
And, you know, home video was a thing at this point, but it's still, I mean, like this didn't come out on home video for a solid year after its initial theatrical run. So it's not like now where you can comfortably skip something at the theater, number 1, and know that it's gonna be on streaming sometime soon. Number 2, what else is competing for your attention really in terms of, like I said, family outings, media, and just this is very confusing to me, and I feel like this is an argument we keep hearing.
yeah. Maybe it's just someone using this excuse as a scapegoat for their movie not making a lot of money. Like, oh, we only hit 19 million because, Christmas movies aren't that popular.
I I don't know.
It's the only thing I can think of.
Was it Hocus Pocus that was released in the summer?
Yes, that sounds right.
Yeah,
Yes.
because you could do things like that and then be like, "Whoop, holiday movies don't make money." And it's like, "Well,
Christmas movies don't make money because we aired them for Thanksgiving.
yeah. Scream is a Christmas movie."
Also didn't do well till the following summer.
Scream?
Yeah, after home video, we
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about this
Well,
episode,
it
did we
picked up
not?
on
Yeah.
word of mouth like after the holidays.
Well, that's what I mean after the holidays,
Okay,
yeah.
there you go. Anyway, by the late 80s, though, A Christmas Story was already considered a classic, Christmas classic, excuse me. It started airing on premium cable channels in 1985, things like HBO that you would pay extra for, right? Never aired on a major network like NBC or ABC. CBS specifically rejected it as too dark to air.
Hmm.
Again, you know, Gene Shepard thinks of himself as a certain type of humorist, I feel, in his writing. I'm lost on what was so dark exactly about the movie. And
Hmm. I don't know.
I mean, this is definitely something I've seen discussed in terms of A Christmas Carol or It's a Wonderful Life. There's a darker side to that movie or to all of
Mhm.
those movies, but this one I'm not really, I'm not following this argument.
No, but I can picture Gene Shepard being really happy that it got rejected from CBS being too dark, because
Right.
that's like, oh, that's my target audience right
Right.
there.
He's like, good. It still came through. It really gained a following, however, when it was syndicated to local television stations during the 1986-87 holiday season. MGM, which had produced and distributed A Christmas Story, in 1986 sold its film library to Ted Turner. And for those of you who might not know, Ted Turner started Turner Broadcasting, Turner Classic Movies, TNT, among other channels. So sold its film library in the mid 80s to Ted Turner. Turner Broadcasting then merged with Time Warner in 1997. And this is how we got the 24-hour Christmas Story marathon that you and I remember from our childhood.
Yeah.
Yep. So TNT
97.
first started the 24-hour marathon in 1997. TBS took over the marathon in 2004. And then for some reason in 2014, both channels started doing it. So you would have Christmas Story showing 24 hours on two networks. And I even read that they staggered the start times so that they weren't
Yeah,
even airing it at exactly the same time. Sometimes they would air it on Turner Classic Movies as well, because again, Turner Broadcasting.
sure.
So in a single holiday season, in a single day, you could potentially watch it on three separate channels multiple times a day.
Right.
Yep.
And so, stepping outside of our Cleveland bubble,
Mm-hmm.
one wonders how this got so popular for Mr. Ted Turner and his network. He's famously from the South,
Mm-hmm.
so definitely nowhere
Mm-hmm.
near Chicago or
Right.
Cleveland. But someone at the network clearly thought it was a great idea
Mm-hmm.
to not only buy the library, but on this one particular day, I'm sure they own other holiday movies,
Right.
but they're showing this all day, 24 hours straight.
Well, what happened when they first started airing it, maybe not so much the 24-hour marathon, but the ratings in terms of how many people were tuning in for it, reruns of A Christmas Story, or I shouldn't say reruns, but showings of A Christmas Story, even at a time where you could buy it on home video and watch it over and over again, yourself if you wanted to. The ratings were better than whatever original holiday programming were on major networks like ABC, NBC, CBS. And
Hmm.
we saw this when we discussed Hocus Pocus. The ratings for the
Yes.
cable showings of Hocus Pocus, the ratings around Halloween time were beating ratings on original things on other networks. So like they had
Interesting.
literal statistical proof of the popularity. Mhm.
Right. And it all can't be from
I mean,
Cleveland,
yeah, it
so
all
there
can't
you
be
go.
from Cleveland. And the thing is, even when they started the 24-hour marathons, they said something like for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and the days around the holiday, something like 19 of the top 30 most viewed shows would be airings of A Christmas Story. It was beating everything else in the ratings. And a side note for good old Gene Shepard here, the television airings of A Christmas Story made him more money than anything he ever did combined. To the
Wow.
point where it sounded like he almost got kind of dismissive of his earlier radio career and called it, kind of looked back on it as like silliness, and TV and movies are where the real money is at, which sure, especially in the 80s, but it seemed like he got really dismissive of his early career. Although at the same time, he mentioned how when you would do a radio show like that, it was like doing a play. It was a moment in time, and if you missed it, you missed it. But something like this could re-air in infinity or be on home video, and you still see
Right, yeah.
residuals. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, to kind of piggyback off that, on December 24, 2007, AOL ranked the film their number one Christmas film of all time.
AOL.
IGN, right? Yeah. IGN ranked the film the top holiday themed film of all time. In 2012, a mayor's poll named the film the favorite holiday film in the US. 2019, a poll commissioned by Tubi TV and conducted by One Poll also ranked the film best holiday movie ever.
Mm-hmm.
Best holiday movie ever. And then it was also added to the National Film Registry in the Library of Congress in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Yep. So as we've mentioned, you can visit the Christmas Story house in Cleveland. Little background of how that came to be. A man named Brian Jones, living in San Diego, purchased the house from A Christmas Story in 2004. It's in the Tremont neighborhood of Cleveland, which we've mentioned. It's on West 11th Street. Brian Jones bought the house on eBay for $150,000. The price alone, and then eBay, right? None of this makes sense. He used funds from his own company that he had created. It was called the Red Rider Leg Lamp Company, and they sold replicas of the leg lamp. So he was a longtime fan of A Christmas Story. Yep.
Wow. He used money off the replicas to buy the house. That is kind of crazy to me.
Yes. He then had to spend about $240,000 of his own money to gut the house because it had been completely modernized and flipped, basically. Specifically, they said the windows were too new to look right in terms of what it looked like in the movie. And the siding was now vinyl siding, so he had that removed. But then he also recreated the whole interior to look like the soundstage in Toronto where the interiors were filmed, or at least where most of them were filmed. I wanted to point out that according to records from the city of Cleveland, the house was originally built in 1895, and it could be as old as 1870, just based on when records started being kept up with.
Sure, yeah.
And I would just like to say that I used to own a house that was built in the 1890s, could have been as far back as the 1870s, 1860s. That thing was such a headache to keep up with. I cannot imagine, number one, having to keep up with a house that old. Number two, having to completely redo it to make it look that old. Like after it had already been flipped by the previous owners.
Yeah, he unmodernized it.
Exactly. And I mean, to be fair, no one's living there full time, so that is different as well.
Do you think they have the same old furnace, or do they keep that modern?
I would like to think they modernized the furnace, but you know what? Maybe you want that authentic smoke coming out of the vent there. Why not? Add the cinema verite of it all. Have some tobacco.
I hope they sell chew at the gift shop.
So the house opened to the public in 2006. I did not realize this, but they bought up more property. They call it a campus when you go to the website for the house to plan a visit. They bought the house across the street, turned it into a Christmas Story museum. The house next door to the museum is a gift shop. They also bought the Bumpus house next door and renovated it in 2018. So people can actually stay overnight in either the Christmas Story house or the Bumpus house if they would like to make reservations.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the total opposite of staying in Mansfield Reformatory.
I was about to say Franklin Castle, but that too. The city of Hammond, Indiana, holds an annual exhibit in November and December, kind of celebrating the film. This includes a statue recreating the scene where Ralphie's friend Flick freezes his tongue to a flagpole. I did not find much else about this. I assume it's kind of like the little town where they filmed Stand By Me. Like this is their claim to fame.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Which, do what you need to do. As someone who grew up in a town that was ridiculed for its sports teams, cling to whatever good things you can. Get those tourism dollars. In 2008, a Canadian documentary was released called Road Trip for Ralphie. Basically, two Canadian fans of the film tried to visit every location in Toronto that was used in the movie. This actually resulted in them somehow finding various props and costumes that were used in the movie.
Huh.
Some of the things they mentioned them finding, like Randy's snowsuit, I believe. When I looked at the website for the house, they're on display either in the house or in the museum attached to the house. So somewhere along the line, those got donated. But specifically, there is a scene in this documentary that shows them saving the blackboard from the actual classroom. The original filming location was Victoria's School in Toronto. It's a stand in for Warren G. Harding Elementary School. They were gutting it for renovation, and these two filmmakers were filming at the same time. And so they saved the original blackboard from the trash.
Very
Mhm.
nice.
Okay. Do you want to get into our sequels, of which I knew nothing about, I guess? All
Sure.
right.
Yeah. Like most of these other little facts, I'm in the same boat. I'll say that again because I didn't know about, I would say, 80% of these. Okay, so where do we start? PBS series American Playhouse produced two made for TV adaptations featuring the same characters, which Shepard also narrated. As we mentioned, he had a collection of short stories, all kind of going back through his childhood, and that's what these are all about. One being the star-crossed romance of Josephine Kosnowski,
Okay. Yeah,
right?
that looks correct.
Okay, that was in 1985. That was written by Gene Shepard.
Mhm.
High school age Ralph Parker prepares for Thanksgiving celebrations with his family. His father, Mr. Parker, decides that he wants to buy a new family vehicle and starts the process of purchasing a yellow colored Buick, while Ralphie's younger brother, Randy, reluctantly practices for his starring role as a turkey in the school Thanksgiving Day play. I can kind of picture that just because of the
Oh
snowsuit.
yeah.
I can
Oh
like see
yeah.
him in a big like stuffed turkey costume, I
Yep.
guess. And by him, I mean a completely different
Right.
actor. As the holiday approaches, a Polish family moves in. I can tell by the last name.
Right.
Welcome to
Yeah, I was
Cleveland, by the
gonna say
way.
it's a very Cleveland sounding last name.
Yeah. With the excitement of the new next door neighbors, Ralph discovers that the daughter is the girl of his dreams. He begins his first serious relationship. The pair soon discover that their courtship may prove more difficult to manage than necessary.
Is it because she's Polish?
So, I don't know. It's there. Not a lot of information on some of these. These are again made for TV. That went straight to TV. They didn't obviously do as well as A Christmas Story,
Hmm.
even though that didn't do well the first time it went out. But
Mhm.
anyway, following that up, Ali Hop Noodles Haven of Bliss.
That is. I don't know
Right.
what I was
Yep.
expecting. That wasn't it.
I want to know what a hop noodle
Yeah.
is as a beer fan. I'm very curious about this. This came out in
Mhm.
1988, also written by
Mhm.
Shepard. Fun fact, Jerry O'Connell is Ralphie.
Huh.
Yeah. Another little random
Yeah, it
Stand
was
By
like
Me
Stand
connection
By Me
here.
kids popping up everywhere.
So this one is a satire of childhood recollections of annual family vacations. It follows the Parker family as they travel to a Michigan lakeside camp. It was a co-production of the Disney Channel and PBS, and it aired in that order, also released on video.
Huh.
So before Christmas Story, Gene Shepard had two movies that came out for TV as well. Phantom of the Open Hearth and The Great American 4th of July and Other Disasters for the same network. I'm assuming they're all coming out of the same book, aka former little stories from Playboy magazine or other
Mhm.
publications, all about
Interesting.
his
Yeah.
childhood.
Interesting.
It doesn't stop there.
Oh.
So those are all for TV,
Okay.
besides A Christmas Story. So 1 out of 5 made it to the
Okay.
theaters. A theatrical sequel involving Ralphie and his family, titled It Runs in the Family, was made 1994.
Okay.
With the exception of Teddy Moore, who played Miss Shields, the teacher
Mhm.
from Christmas Story, and Shepard is a narrator, who is the voice of adult
Mhm.
Ralphie, obviously. It features an entirely different cast, again. It received a limited release before retitled My Summer Story for home video and television release.
Hmm.
So if you didn't like it the first time, let's repackage it for the
For
second,
summer?
I guess. This one is also directed by Bob Clark,
Oh.
though. And the screenplay is by the same trio,
Okay.
Clark, Shepard, and Lee Brown.
Okay.
some fun facts I found. Mary Steenburgen, who I know her from Back to the Future 3 and also Step
Hmm.
Brothers. She plays Mrs.
I could
Parker.
see that.
Yeah, right? I can totally see that. And Kieran Culkin is Ralphie,
Makes me want to see it a little bit now. Yeah.
right? And then I don't know if this character is new for this movie, but Glenn
Hmm.
Shaddix, he's known for being Ortho in Beetlejuice, and he also was the voice of the mayor in Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, okay.
He's in that as well.
Okay.
The film takes place the summer of 1941, after the events of A Christmas Story, which took place in, apparently, according to this, 1940.
Okay.
So again, we're still not sure because we hear
Yeah,
different things.
sure.
Several plot lines, one for each of 10-year-old Ralphie, his dad, the mom, and it follows some recurring subplot involving him and his dad on a fishing trip,
Okay.
which is apparently full of mishaps. They don't catch anything until a single night where all the fish are apparently caught.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's probably like them trying really hard and bonding,
Hmm.
and I can picture at least the dad from Christmas Story, the original one, because I don't know who the actor's in this one. Like I can see him being all frustrated with it, like the
Oh,
furnace,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden,
Hmm.
the catch of the day,
Yeah.
catch of the week. It sounds like.
Hmm.
So then we get A Christmas Story 2,
Okay.
which is a direct sequel to the film, ignores the references and events of My Summer
Huh.
Story, and was released direct to video in 2012.
Okay.
And we've seen this with other sequels we've discussed. We're like, you know what? These ones didn't make money. We're gonna just go around them, and we'll tie it into the one that made us money, and hopefully we can piggyback off of
Right.
that.
Like you do.
I mean, that's fair.
Sure.
Brian Levant directed. He is known for Problem Child 2, Beethoven, The Flintstones, and another quiet Christmas classic, Jingle All the Way.
Another Christmas classic basically revolving around the ultimate Christmas present. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Little tie in here. Daniel Stern plays Mr. Parker.
Hmm.
Right. I can't wrap my head around that one.
For anyone who might not remember, Daniel Stern was Marv in Home Alone, one of
Marv.
the wet bandits. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is set 6 years after the original, follows 15-year-old Ralphie as he wishes for a 1939 Mercury 8 convertible for Christmas, but crashes the car before he even owns it.
Oh,
Now Ralphie and his friends, well, we see Flick and Schwartz again apparently,
okay.
they must find a way to raise enough money to fix the car before Christmas.
Okay. Sure.
Sure. Apparently Ralphie has a through line here of really wanting something for Christmas, getting it, and it not going the way
Yeah.
he wants.
It's a good point.
Although billed as an, quote, official sequel in the trailer, the film is not directly based on any of Gene Shepard's writings, nor is he involved due to his death in 1999.
Okay.
Instead, it has an original script by Nat Malden, who also narrates in place of the late Shepard.
When did
So
this one came out? In 2012. Okay.
so it's some gaps here between these movies.
Okay. Jeez.
And then finally, A Christmas Story Christmas 2022 on HBO Max, directed by Clay Cadis,
Okay.
who did Christmas Chronicles.
I have not seen that.
I don't know if you saw that on Netflix with Kurt Russell.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I haven't seen it though.
Yeah, it was fun. I like Kurt Russell as like a grayed-haired, not quite like white frosty, like almost like a dingy looking Santa, a little rough around the edges.
Santa.
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah, it was fun.
Okay.
But A Christmas Story Christmas ignores previous sequels and much of the original cast returns.
Oh, okay.
So this is nice.
Yeah.
In December 1973, 33 years after A Christmas Story, 42-year-old Ralph, aka
Mhm.
Ralphie, lives in Chicago with his wife, Sandy, and their 2 children, Mark and Julie.
Okay.
Ralph has been taking the year off from his job to write his first novel, but its excessive length leads multiple publishers to reject it. Mrs. Parker calls to tell Ralph that his father, the old man, has died, and the grief-stricken family makes his way to Homan, Indiana, to be with her. She gives Ralph 2 tasks: write the father's obituary and take up the mantle of making Christmas special for the family. So out of all these movies, 2, 4, 6, 7 of them, I think, excluding the original, I actually did see the most recent one.
I remember that one coming out and the news around it, but it also made me feel like that was the only sequel because I thought it was a situation when this came out, I thought it was a situation like Hocus Pocus where it got really popular. The original movie got really popular. It's our age group that would, be the automatic audience for a sequel. So I
Hmm.
had no idea that all these other ones existed. I thought this was sort of the, hey, Christmas Story is really popular now, and the people who grew up with it are of a certain age. Let's cash in on a second one. Yeah.
Right. I had known about the previous sequel, A Christmas Story
Okay.
2. I remember seeing it somewhere. I doubt it went to
Hmm.
theaters, but I don't know. I looked at it probably just online, the poster or whatever, and it was like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
This one was different to me because, as I mentioned, much of the original cast
Right.
returns. I believe the mom who played Miss Parker has passed at this point, so it's his
Hmm.
new mom, but Ralphie, Randy, Flick,
Yeah.
Schwartz, they all show up in some
Hmm.
capacity. And it was a nice little like touching little piece.
Hmm. Just an aside, too, Peter Billingsley, who played Ralphie, he doesn't really act anymore, obviously, aside from this. And he has a bit part in Elf, the Will Ferrell movie, I'm sure a lot of people realize that
Hmm.
at this point. But he's actually a really successful producer and director now. That's it.
Yep, that is it.
Did it hold up for you?
Yes,
I mean, obviously, I watch this every Christmas. Like,
multiple
yeah, multiple
times.
times every Christmas. Again, too biased to have a real opinion, I think. Well, we would love to hear your thoughts on A Christmas Story as well as your own favorite Christmas movies. You can find us on Instagram at Back Through the Lens Pod and on Facebook at Back Through the Lens. You can also email us at backthroughthelenspodcast@gmail.com. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating and review. It's the best way to support our show.
If you enjoyed our show today, please give us a like and follow for updates on new and future episodes. Our show is produced by our hosts, Rachel Campbell and myself, Joe Siomick, with additional help and support from Peter Telep of LPV Productions. Peter, Rachel, and I are also executive producers. Our awesome logo is brought to you by Tom Faraci, and our wonderful theme song is by Matt Tarek. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more trips into our movie watching past on Back Through the Lens.
Can you talk?
Was that?
Just say some stuff.
Do 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 ba ba ba. I don't know what to say.
Thanks, that was really helpful. What
Yeah.
kind of shoddy equipment are we working with here?
Yeah, Pete. What?